as we get started here, but obviously I'm super excited to have Easy on tonight. Pop in the chat when you see us live. And if you hear my crazy cats in the background, it's probably going to be another. They're acting crazy tonight. I swear it only happens when I stream, but that'll be all right. Um, and let's see. Just pop in when you're in here, and we'll know you're here, and we can get started in a few minutes. I'm super excited to have you on tonight, Easy.
I am super, super excited to be here. I was just telling Josie before we started that, like, it was something that I had basically aspired to, thinking like, this is kind of where it's at to be on with Josie and behind the art was like definitely something I had as like a goal set. And
Oh, that's
I'm super
awesome.
happy to be here. It actually came quicker than I had anticipated or thought too. So things have been cranking lately. It's been super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, once we get into this, I'm super excited to just dive into all the things you've been working on. But also, before we get into all of that, just a huge thank you to you as well, because you've been such an amazing supporter of my art, my channel, behind the art. Like, you show up to, I think you've been to almost every single episode. Maybe there was one, but
I
I
think
think
I
almost
missed
every
one.
single episode. And it's just crazy. Like, you're so awesome, like in the chat. You're just a huge supporter. And I mean, I see you on Twitter. It's not just for me, it's other creators and really amazing people in the space, and you're just like full force behind everyone. So thank you for being such an awesome community member. And I'm super excited to have you on, and especially just talk about just everything you're working on. And I feel like it's been such an organic growth for you. And everyone in the community knows you, which is pretty exciting. So this will be a fun one. Hey,
It's
Samsonite.
such, yeah, it's such an amazing community. I mean, when I started out, I was just I started basically on Scent. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
in kind of our extended group kind of got their feet wet on Scent, and it was such a inclusive environment and just like so positive. I had always dreamed of doing my art publicly, and I just didn't think it was possible. And so having so much. Getting so welcomed and having so much support in this community and from you too. And I've learned so much on your shows, and it's like an absolute pleasure, even every time, just to be in the chat and be learning and being able to support people. I just really feel like any way I can pay it forward to other people that are coming in and learning, it's something that I'm passionate about for sure.
That's awesome. There needs to be more people like you. I'll put that feeling out into the universe this year because yeah, no, exactly what you just said. You do. You are just so positive. You really do. I feel like help empower other people in what they're doing, and I hope that you're getting that back as well in your work because you're working on some really awesome stuff. So let's get started. Hey, Dab Dragon. Let's get started and just kind of jump into things. Um, do you? I'm trying to think. Did we first meet in the Crypto Voxels Discord,
I think so.
or
Like,
because I remember the first time I saw you was on a stream, but that was way after we met on a stream for what was I was talking with we it was like those networking tables. I forget what talk I
oh,
was even
oh,
at. You know what I'm talking about?
maybe blockchain and booze, could it have been? Maybe, I'm not
No.
sure. There's so many
Oh
of
yeah, maybe
those
it was.
events that like you kind of listen in
Yeah.
and then you get thrown into those tables. It's super cool.
Yeah,
Like, it's an
yeah,
amazing
maybe
to
that
just
was it.
meet
But
people.
where did we first meet? Was it through the Crypto Voxels
I
chat?
think it was through Crypto Voxels.
Okay.
That was where we first met. Maybe it was just after I had found your show. Like, I
Mm.
mean, honestly, when I first was introduced to your art, I was super blown away and was like, "Oh my God, who is this? I need to like follow up." And then found that you do your shows and jumped in and just was like instantly like, "This is awesome." And kept coming back, and that just like I really appreciate how you interact with everybody that is following along with you, and to be in your Discord server or even just following along in your Twitch streams and tweets, you definitely pay back that energy and support like 100-fold fully, because like I've got this amazing shirt on
I
today.
know, I'm so happy you
um,
wore it. I should have worn
and
mine.
this this shirt has sparked some, I have friends that are like not into crypto, they're into like art and they're interested about what I'm doing. But quite a few people I've been like, okay, well, just look at this. And I hold up the phone
Yeah.
with in front of the shirt, and then they're just like, boom, head, like eyes open, jaw drop, head
What did I
explode.
just
They're like,
see?
that is crazy. Like, that's what you guys are doing? Okay, I'm interested. So
That's
it's a
so cool to
great
hear.
like way to kind of break people's minds into thinking like digital art, well, that's just like something I see online. And no, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, no, that's super awesome to hear. That's kind of fun. I actually that t-shirt was the second piece of AR that I ever created, and to be honest, it kind of looks crappy now that I'm looking back at it, and I need to fix it because it has like the big like black box in the background, and really I need to make that transparent and make the girl just larger. So it's on my list of things to update that shirt. So it'll
It's
be like
still
you have a brand new shirt when I update it because you'll
oh
scan it and see
nice.
something new.
I
Um,
I wear it a lot, so I may need a replacement at some point.
Okay, perfect.
Cheers.
Yeah, oh yeah, I only had a little bit of wine left, so poured what I had left. Cheers. Hey everyone who jumped in the chat. Cool. Okay, so I would love to just know a little bit. You do so many things, and I feel like you have your hands in a lot, and you're doing really awesome stuff. I definitely want to hear about that, but before we get into, and sorry if you hear little feet running around. My cats are literally, I swear, I might need to feed them dinner earlier or later because they get crazy exactly at this time. But I want to hear about how you first discovered the NFT world and Ethereum, or if it was through something else. I want to hear about how you first discovered that, if you're open to share that. And then I'd
Yeah.
love to just hear how you grew into what you're doing now with like the podcast that you're doing, all the stuff that you're creating for Crypto Voxels, like the work in progress, like all of this stuff. We'll get to all of it, but let's just like start a little bit at the beginning.
So it was through basically ETH that I found out about NFTs. I have a lifelong friend that lives up the street from me in California, where I grew up, and we actually both found Scent in like this. I think on the same day. It was like a couple years back around Thanksgiving, and he actually more helped me get into crypto. He was into it a little bit before me. And so we would just take walks and talk about crypto stuff. And he's the one, El Rapier Witt, who maybe in the chat. I forgot to send him a reminder. Oops. He's the one that told me about NFTs first, and it just exploded in my head. Like, I had so many ideas from like, oh, you could make an NFT that comes with a piece of code that could then print a statue that's like photographed on the NFT, or like aim your phone at an NFT that has an embedded barcode and make it dance in VR, or like have a there was so many things that went through my head beyond just like a piece of art that is static that you enjoy looking at, which is also amazing because there's so much amazing creativity in this community. But yeah, it was like an instant explosion of all these different trains of thoughts taking off in different directions at the same time. And I just like, I knew I had to get into it when I found out what an NFT was.
Yeah, it's funny in the chat, as you're saying this, Samsonite said, how many replicants of Easy are there out there? Not sure how he manages to do so much in the space. And then No Shot said, you were on Scent so long ago, I remember. And it's funny because there's a few people on the show that just talk about like the Scent early days, which is so cool because and as even Matthew and the Scent folks know, I avoided Scent for so long because of some of the like policies, which now I've learned a lot more, and I think Scent is amazing. But I avoided it for so long, which I regret. And there's this whole freaking amazing community that was budding, and I think that was kind of special. And as I'm learning more about the Scent early days, I'm also sort of thinking that that environment and what was built on Scent started to translate into other spaces as well. And I like the community, obviously, in Discords, like within certain channels, have been great, but I feel like that sort of group started like venturing into different places as well, just like getting to know crypto voxels or whatever it is. And I feel like that group sort of came over and just made their mark in a really special way, especially with work in progress meetups. Those have been amazing. And do you? I mean, you seem like you're a part of that team in some way, or you're just freaking marketing for
I'm
everyone, because
I
you always
am
do.
like on the whip crew.
Mm-hmm.
Those like kind of golden years on Scent, which were, the what, early 2018, late 2017 or something. It was like family. I mean, it was a small amount of people that were active daily. And so you pretty much, you would see everybody's content that was active on the platform. Now that would be impossible. There's thousands and thousands of people that are active. But back then it was like so tight knit that the handful of people that were there and active, and thanks and shout out to Matthew, who brought so many of us into the fold with his generosity and sincerity and warmth and openness. He brought me in. Like, I had never done social media. I never got into Facebook. I wasn't on Twitter except for maybe like a little bit of crypto stuff here and there when I joined Scent. First foray into any social media, and it was just so different. I mean, within the first days, I was like, "Oh, how does this work?" Oh, back then you needed to place basically like a bounty to post, so you had to put up like a
Mm-hmm.
buck or two or whatever just to make a post. And I was like, "Oh, okay," like learning the ropes. Matthew just was like, "Here's a few bucks, you can make your first posts," and that just kicked it all off. I was like, "This is different."
Yeah.
And then meeting the people there, musicians and writers and artists, and now the art scene there has exploded. But yeah, it was a very special environment, and I feel like it fostered a lot of creativity, a lot of collaborative teamwork that helped people kind of find their direction and what they wanted to do and build. And so many of us are less active on Scent now, although still there, because we're doing all these big projects that were like brainchilds from
Yeah.
our little Scent crew. So it's really cool to kind of see the growth there. And the whip, I mean, everybody here probably knows about the whip, work in progress meetups. They started as just like, I don't know, 10 people hanging out talking about what you're working on, like what's your newest work in progress. And it has just blossomed into this crazy, amazing kind of revolution across the
Oh yeah.
metaverse. And it's super awesome to be a part of. And I do the Token Smart listening parties for that podcast, which is pretty much based around whip, and as well as all things metaverse, but it's kind of like a whip focused podcast. And yeah, I've been to probably almost every whip too since the
Yeah,
early.
you have. I as Samsonite said, I don't know how you have the time to do everything that you do. It's amazing. And on the topic of the whip, I remember the first one I went to, and it was small. I don't. It was a long time ago. I don't remember how long ago, and it was before anything was structured. So I came and I was like just hanging out, listening, or like chat, like seeing what was going on, and then Matthew was like, "Hey Josie, want to say anything? Like, what are you working on?" I was like, and I was like, kind of on the spot. I was like, "Oh, sure." And then like I named a few things that I thought I was gonna have done that week and probably didn't have done for like 2 months. But it was so cool to just like I was there for my first time. He's like, "So what's up? Like, what are you up to?" kind of thing. And then it like grew to something that was so huge, and they're really great at getting feedback from everyone and taking the feedback really seriously and building it in a super special way that brings value to the space. So I totally agree. And for those of you, if you're watching this back or if you're watching here now and don't know what the whip meetups are, you should absolutely attend one. They are in crypto voxels, and I mean, follow Easy on Twitter, follow Matthew on Twitter. You'll get all the details. But they're huge now. Like, I didn't go to the last couple, but how many people are there now?
Today I think we broke 100 people
That's
in
awesome.
CV. Possibly, we definitely had over 100 in the Discord, and I
Yeah.
think we may have gotten up to that in World, because we were breaking stuff good. So that means
Yeah.
we're growing the whip good. But we had a amazing fashion show today, like as the after whip
Sorry,
thing.
I
It was
missed it.
off the hook. And
Damn
then we
it.
had Rendar Mark um, where we had the whip today, like at the end, they were burning tokens, and there was this whole like machine incinerator set up where once they hit the button to burn those tokens, little tokens would like fall onto a little, belt and go, and the incinerator door would open up, and the token would go in,
Oh, I need
door
to see
closes,
this.
and then like smoke coming out had like the symbol of the token. Like it was
There
just
has to
so,
be a
it's so
video.
cool.
That sounds
Yeah, I'm
amazing. Okay, there has
it
to be a
was
video. I'm bummed I missed it live, but that sounds awesome. See, I
I'm
love
sure
those
there'll be
little
video.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, the detail is so amazing that people are able to do in crypto voxels. It blows my mind. I
Mm-hmm.
have a little gallery, but it's just like blocks and art, and then these people come and make these like mechanical, crazy, interactive things, and it just blows my mind. But and
Yeah.
like you were saying, the openness and listening to like everybody's input and everybody being valuable is, I think, part of kind of the magic secret sauce of the whip too.
Oh yeah. And another really thing that I think is part of the magic of the whip is that it highlights anyone who's passionate about what they're doing, which I think is super special because, of course, within our space, we have amazing platforms and communities, but in some cases, maybe because a person can't afford a piece of land or hasn't got accepted to an art platform, not everyone feels like they can shine in the way they want to. And I think the whip is really special as well because it highlights anyone who's super passionate about what they're doing, which is really important to just build our space. So um,
Absolutely.
I totally
And
agree.
anyone in that kind of situation where you're just kind of starting out, maybe you have a lot of questions or you're feeling like embarrassed to share too much or something, hop on Scent. You will, you'll get helping hands. And then, like Josie was just saying, like the whip is such a great space to like launch a little project or just get some community feedback, because a lot of the early whips were about getting feedback. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, here's what I'm working on. What do you guys think? Or maybe you're looking for a partner to help with something. So it really is, an open space for everybody.
Yeah, it just makes me think about how freaking early we are. That
Yeah.
this is like what's. I mean, I can't even imagine what the whips are gonna be in like a year. Dab Dragon loves your hair, by the way. Easy.
Thanks. I got it cut. If anybody saw my, like, it must have been week before last or something, Collector's Hub, it was like out to here. It was getting too heavy and big. And so I just did get a little,
A
a
little
home
trim
trim.
off the
It
top.
was a trim at home, but
Yeah.
yeah, it worked.
All my trims are at home even before Corona, so I know what you mean.
Nice.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about you and what you're doing in crypto voxels beyond the web because you are making like really amazing, and I don't know if you want to do this now, throw some stuff up on the screen, but you're making some
Sure.
really amazing stuff in crypto voxels, and I'd love to share that with everyone here, and also just hear about your process and how you even like did you teach yourself magic of voxels? How do you get inspired by what you're doing? Just give us a little bit of an insight.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're sharing the screen. I pulled up just, I have Magic of Voxels open. So this was actually one of the very first things I made, and it was for the Sugar Club, a retro palm, and there's a little pond in there, and this weird pink palm, and some
I love that.
flowers and stuff. And I have done landscaping since I was a kid, as well as photography, and I also went to school for landscape architecture and stuff. So a lot of my art, whether it's my, my photography pieces and whatnot, are influenced by my background in film. I worked in film in New York City for a handful of years too, and photography and landscaping. I've always been a nature lover. So I did just totally teach myself Magic of Voxels, and it was really a trip to start working in this 3D space. It's so much different than like the little bit of sketchings I had done or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And I'm just looking through. I'm trying to find one of these good flowering cherries. I have a bunch of different versions.
These are really cool, and I will tell anyone
Yeah,
watching this, make that flower was cool. The making organic shapes and natural things in Magic of Voxel is actually really hard. It's much easier to make sort of angular, buildings or robots or cars than it is to actually make like organic natural shapes, at least
It's
from what I've experienced.
it's very challenging. You can't really do like diagonals in there.
Yeah,
So
no.
plants often have a whorl pattern, which is like opposite diagonal growth. So here's one of the flowering cherries that I liked a little more. And then I'll do a bunch of like different varieties on each thing I'm working on often, and try and find the one that I kind of like. I like the way this one was weighted more naturally. So you've got
Yeah.
kind of like it pulling over, the branches are sort of longer on this side and dripping down more. But yeah, just I literally, in the first, I'll show you one of the very first ones I made, which I haven't been able to really fix, because when you open up, and this is good for anybody interested in magic voxels, when you open up magic voxels, it's about 40 by 40 by 40 is the size it gives you, but we need to be building in 32 by 32 by 32.
Oh,
So I built
yeah.
this weird, and it was just one of my very first experiments. It's this where it's actually would be a grandmother clock,
That is
because it's
epic.
a smaller size, and I've got like, the different woods that I sort of layered in,
Yeah.
and signs that sort of just carry around, and then the little scene on top that's supposed to kind of be like a tile, thing that would have been. So that was one that I haven't been able to really rescue,
That's
just because it's
awesome though.
oversized. But yeah, it's really fun. And then there's the shirt I made.
Love that.
Yeah, and I got the shirt, the form was pre-made, and then a bunch of us just did designs, and then Syncus, who had made the base model, did this auction after the whip, which was amazing. It was so much fun, and there was like battles going on for different shirts, and
That's
this was
so
mine,
cool.
which is basically like, I was like Hawaiian shirt,
Yeah,
because
I
I
love
used to
it.
rock Hawaiian shirts when I was younger, and I decided to just sort of make the whole scene of the
Even
ocean
as like a
and
volcano
a
and a rainbow.
rainbow, a volcano. You got the trees over here going by, and
I
then
feel
I
like this
signed it
shirt is like your
inside.
personality.
And so it says "Take
Seriously.
it easy" on the inside.
I love
Um,
that.
let's see if I have maybe just a couple other quick ones to plug. Ooh, there's one that I can't show yet because it's for a secret project. But here's like a little. I made this
Oh,
for
I like
a
this one.
someone in the Hive Muse Discord was making like a kitchen, and so I made them this little kind of, it could be a pepper plant or like a tomato, maybe like a Roma tomato, and
Yeah,
some have blossoms that are yellow, and the others represent the fruits.
I
And
love that.
then let's see,
Oh,
little
that's cool.
flower. I'm looking for. Oh, here's one that I recently just started, and that would be like an
Whoa.
elephant leaf, or kind of like African mask style plant, and not
These
finished,
are
but
so cool. These
it's
are so,
really,
so cool.
thank you. It's weird to play with because it's hard to make something look like it's, growing with natural, kind of natural elements. So
Right.
making different stepped layering to kind of give it more depth. It's just playing with different stuff. Like I said, I had never made anything out of voxels. I had made like a couple of pixel chain pieces of art, which
Mm-hmm.
is super fun and addicting. But even my first pixel chain, I was like, oh, this is hard. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fun. Super, super cool to get into. And I made a few cat flowers
Oh, cool.
for Coldy. They've got the
Yep.
3D glasses for the Kitty Bungalow event. And I just,
That's
then if you
awesome.
make something, you can just kind of switch up the colors on
Yep.
it. So I had some different colors, and some are like budding, like these ones have little buds at the top, and some others are, if I can find one, with the full flower at the top.
Love
So
that.
just, just a few things
That's
that
really creative.
here's a cactus.
You know what this is
Um,
making me think of that I would love to see with this stuff is, I mean, Ben's been talking about this for a long time. I hope it eventually happens, and I haven't seen an update on it lately, but I could have missed it. That's an awesome bee. Is if in CryptoVoxels, most of you probably know this, but there are a lot of like empty plots that have not been built on, and we've always talked about having the plots that don't get built on for a long time sort of over start to overflow with plants and kind of make them park spaces and green spaces. Something that would be epic with this is if there are different nature items for different districts. So, like the palms and all of this stuff would go on the islands that have the empty plots. Those cool, crazy cat ones would obviously go in CryptoKitties. Those, like whatever, different, like kind of cyberpunky ones would go in Gangnam, and kind of have these themes so that every neighborhood you went into still looked different, even if the plots are being overgrown. Every plot in every neighborhood would look different because you have all of these different sorts. Like, this looks so cool. Imagine just the empty plots being overgrown with all of your plants and have a different theme for each neighborhood. Like, ugh, I want to see
So
that happen.
I actually, a while back in, I think it was the CryptoVoxels Discord, I had mentioned that I'm making plants, and it's taking longer because I'm working on so many things to build up a little kind of catalog of plants. But my idea for CryptoVoxels is at some point to be able to offer like a voxelscaping service, to be able to,
Yeah.
you look at the plants you like, you get some, I come in, I set them up around your place or whatever. But I had just put at some point in there, let's make a central park, like a giant park with some of the unused space, or if someone, and actually it's developed now to where like Hive Muse and some other groups were like, we love that idea. They actually took it and rolled with it, and there's like parcels that were donated for this. And the idea is to have this big central park where you could have like an open space, some forest, a little Japanese garden, like a pond or lakes, and then around it could be like kind of little coffee shop art houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get there at some point. It's a lot of work even just to make one plant. So
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a while. And there's some people that are making amazing greenery. So I think to green up a lot of the gray space is a great idea. And the idea is out there, and people are rolling with it. So I hope to get a little more active in the groups that are working on that central park idea, and hopefully we'll have multiple parks and be able to have just a lot more greenery in the space, or pinkery, or what, we
Yeah.
can invent anything. That's why like one of my very first ones was that retro palm, if I can find it again, that guy, because you can
Yeah.
make anything here. It doesn't have to be. And some of my plants are like the flowering cherry tree. I want it to look like a flowering cherry tree, like, but there's also just crazy pink and purple and gold and orange with blue flowers, and you can make anything that you can kind of imagine. So it's really cool, and I look forward to a future with a lot more crazy plants and awesome green spaces in CV too, for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Those are really epic. I'm glad you shared those because I've sort of
Thanks.
wanted, as someone said in the chat, AgroCat said very cool, behind the curtain look at creating in CV. I've sort of wanted to see your behind the curtain of all this cool stuff. So thank you for sharing those.
Happy
Um,
to share.
hey Coldy, hey NFT Lander. Um, Cool. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome. I would also love to chat about, I mean, anywhere you want to take this, but I also want to make sure we chat about some of the other stuff you're working on as well. And I don't know if you want to start with something in specific. I have things in mind, but you can go for it.
You can just, if you've got something in mind, go ahead and
Yeah.
shoot, and I will do my best to give the rundown.
Okay. I'd love to talk about your show. And I am so regretful and sorry that I haven't been able to tune in. I feel like I've been working like crazy and trying to schedule my own shows in. But I want to hear about your show and how everything has been going with that.
Awesome, thanks, and no worries. We are all like bouncing all over the place. I definitely miss things that I want to attend,
I
and
don't believe you. You attend
it's
to everything.
I try. I
You're like
do
the
like
biggest
try.
supporter ever, so I don't believe
Um,
that.
So the Collectors Hub show is the probably majority of focus as far as shows. I do have an old little scent podcast. Had some great. My last guest, which was like a 3-episode part, was Vessa, which was amazing. So I do plan on still doing those, but they're gonna be like here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Collectors Hub show is the main show I'm doing, and the focus has been more towards collectors. Not that it precludes artists or musicians or anything. And a lot of us are artist collectors or collector artists
Right.
because the passion is there and you see something and you want it. And so, but you know, I had Whale Shark on for a first guest, which was perfect because he is a very big collector.
Yep.
And so it's really interesting, and curation is really important to me too. And I will be having Eleonora on fairly soon.
Nice.
And so part of the idea was to shine some light on the collectors and curators in the space, because they're super valuable part of the ecosystem. And it's sort of been maybe not like poo-pooed on, but it almost felt like that when I got into the scene a little more. There was like, oh, like curators are from like the big bad art world. And I'm like, well, wait, we actually need them here to help us build out our galleries. And, you know, we need that knowledge and that experience in our field as well. So, you know, shining a light sort of on some of the collectors and curators. And then you can also, like for me, I'm hungry for knowledge. So to learn from somebody that's been collecting art for a while, like what they do when they're out looking. And for the most part, people don't just see something they like and right away click buy it and then move on with their day. I mean, sometimes that comes up where something is that amazing that you just have to get it. But for the most part, people that I've talked to that are like bigger collectors do, they might see a piece they like and be like, oh, I want to check out that artist. And they'll check out some of the social media, what other art they've made, and maybe who's collecting or what the price range has been and how it's moving. Not that price always plays a big part of the role, but it's definitely a factor in there too. So for me, it was sort of an opportunity to learn myself, talk with amazing people, and then, you know, the large goal is to educate new people in the space, everyone in the space, onboard people, and then through Collectors Hub, Gallerist is the service we have up now, where you can just very easily plug in your, you know, wallet, and boom, your art is there across, you know, all the platforms. We'll say we're still adding a lot. It's all done manually, so we're adding contracts continually. There's thousands of them out there of amazing artists, but
And is
you
that
can
with
just,
Renee?
yeah, that's with Renee
Yeah.
and Yoni. Renee is heading the dev team there, and
That's
so
really cool. You guys should check that out. And will
yeah.
you link everything after this in the Discord for everyone?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
absolutely. I can't believe that I didn't have Collectors Hub pulled up already. I didn't even think to like have things to share until a little while ago. So I was like, oh, I should probably prepare a little for this. But so Collectors Hub, you plug in your wallet, it recognizes your art from across the platforms, because browsing platform to platform isn't really that great, or through, you know, OpenSea. There's just so much going on. So an NFT art only platform. And then you can very easily create a gallery. You know, you have your main collection, you can create a gallery and put in, you know, you call, like I have multiple galleries. One's like dope ass art. Another one is like as is gold standard, and I have my gold back NFTs in there, and I have a pixel pet gallery, and like, so you can just organize your art how you want, and then soon it'll be all searchable. So it'll be a great way to just see what other collectors have. You could search by artist, by a certain collection, and then, you know, eventually this will help to sales and be just a great like marketplace too. And eventually we'll have an auction house and things like that for like larger community auctions and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot on the agenda. But yeah, the shows have been great. Really fun just to talk. Like I had Coldy on, and twice, because the first show we got kind of disconnected after most of the like primary questions got gone through. So because of that, I was able to have him back on, and it was just a super chill session. And we talked about like gold mining and NFTs and crypto voxels, and just kind of the ethos around the community and how great it is. I had Jim on. That was really fun to actually get a face-to-face and talk with him for a bit. So it's been really great. And I plan to have a lot more shows. Right now they're bi-weekly. If I get kind of a big list of people that are waiting to be on, I might switch it to weekly. It's also there's a lot going on, so I
Yeah.
might bi-weekly, and then I have time to
And then you could
prepare.
have a bonus one here and there.
Exactly.
Um,
That's kind of what I'm going for.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pronounce her name wrong. Camoliet, Liet. I'm just gonna say Camo. Asked how can they find your show? Where can they watch it?
So it's on Twitch. It does stream on Twitch here, and then the Twitch, the episode stays up for like 2 weeks, and then I swap them over to YouTube. So we have a Collectors Hub YouTube for the older episodes, the Collectors Hub Twitch, and then of course come and join the Discord. So that is where, you know, we run everything through there, so you can listen in there. participate, and then you can also participate in Twitch. In fact, we also do it in CryptoVoxels, so it's kind of trifecta. We're in world, and some people there are watching the live stream on a screen in CryptoVoxels, as well as being there in avatar form. And the idea
and listening in Discord.
Right. The idea is eventually to also add in some really cool like field trips. So maybe, you know, when I have a curator on, we can then go over to a gallery and get a little kind of curated tour and things like that. So it'll be growing and expanding. But yes, definitely join the Discord. You know, you can follow on Twitter and all those good things to kind of get the message when we're gonna do a show.
Sweet. Okay, and definitely put a link for the Discord and all that in
Absolutely.
the Discord when you can. That's really cool. I'm definitely gonna check those out. And it's so interesting. Coley said Easy is a bomb interviewer. Huge turnout last time you were on. That's awesome.
Thanks,
It's so, and Coley, you're awesome because you've been artist obviously, but such an amazing collector for so long. And I mean, I remember reading a tweet from you that you were saying that, you know, what you were making on your art, you just started investing in other art that you were really fond of. So I think that's really kind of amazing way to keep the ecosystem growing. Oh, sweet. Thank you, DabDragon. DabDragon just dropped a link to the Discord. So
DabDragon is amazing.
there, you can find it there. I know, I love the always like DabDragon approved and all of that kind of stuff. That's so funny.
Totally.
Awesome. Samsonite wanted the link. Sweet. Okay, cool. So let's. How many episodes, by the way, do you have so far for Collector's Hub? Do you know?
I think the last one was the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the last one was the 4th.
Okay.
Maybe the 5th.
But. It's honestly, you could try weekly if you wanted, but you know, I used to do weekly for season 1, and then I changed it to like bi-weekly for season 2, and now actually this month I have 4 shows, so I'm like, how did I get back on weekly? I need to switch that for next month, but
it's tough. Like just doing one of these shows, you know, it takes time for real, and then you kind of have to like figure out the next one. And I mean, you're super pro, and all your shows rock, but it is a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just like hopping on a call. Even though we try and play it off like that.
Yeah. No, there is always, I mean, you guys know when I start on here, I'm like, can you, literally, you're my 23rd episode, and I'm still like, hey, can you guys still jump in the chat and let me know that we're actually streaming live? And I say it at the beginning of every episode, but I always have that fear, you know, of like, that I've started the show and it's not actually streaming, or, you know, in the beginning I did always have technical issues where it stopped midway and I had no idea. But anyways,
even honestly, even in like the Discord listening parties where I just have to play a podcast, I'm always like, I haven't touched a setting all week, and I'm like, please guys, let's do a test. Just tell me if it's working.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Okay, so tell us a little. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I did just pull up a Collector's Hub.
Oh yeah.
If you want to do just a quick screen share on that, so
That's
people
perfect.
can have a quick look, since we were talking about it.
Because I was going to bring up next, and maybe you have it on your Collector's Hub, I want to talk about your art and your photography and all the things you do. So maybe you do have something on Collector's Hub with your stuff. If not, you can show it to
you
us
know what?
after.
I have a little bit. So here, is my screen showing?
Yep.
So here, for example, like the inventory, you just like, I'm on the computer, I just signed a message with MetaMask, and here's all my stuff, you know? So this is art I've collected. And what I'll do is I'll just go over to the galleries here.
Katie, Connie, I love all these.
Yeah. So let's go to, here's somewhere I've made art. So we'll go to Ez's Gold Standard, if that loads up. Okay, so here is, that Daughter of Gold was my first Booleonics coin that I created, and that's from a piece that I will show you guys if we take a little stop off and I share the gallery. And then this one here, Rose Up, is the second one that I created. So these are backed by gold, DGX. So it's basically, you could melt the piece down and extract the gold value, which is fascinating to me. Me and Colby
Yeah.
talked some about this. Or you have this amazing piece of art that also has gold like in it. So there's just cool double value there. And then these, I kind of do the floral theme often, and I don't think it
Those are
has
beautiful. Those are
explanations,
really
but yeah.
beautiful.
And then a few other that I've just collected. That I really like. This one had rose on it too.
Is that
And
one
then
that you've collected?
this is one that I collected, and that was, and I'm blanking, either Giselle or I'm trying to remember who made that one. And I could hit the link, but my computer is so slow that it will take too long. So I will just instead hop over to show you. So that's my gold collection. And then, you can make a gallery about anything you want. I'm a huge Pixel Pet fan.
Lander too. Lander said you're his Pixel Pet brother earlier in the chat.
We are
I
Pixel
love
Pet
that.
brothers. There was a story with like a legend attached to it that totally 100% came to pass in the real world, which was like that there was the Pixel Pet sun and moon, and they were separated, and here's the moon. And if they ever, it was like if the owners of the two, if they were owned by separate people, ever met, they would become friends. And
Cool.
Lander had actually reached out to like try and buy it, and I was like, I'm way too attached to it, I'm too sentimental. And then that just started the kind of ball rolling. We became fast friends. We even pulled over this like super funny joke. I had said that like, oh, I got some huge offer on my Pixel Pet, and my brain is just not working to the amazing Pixel Pet creator. And so anyways, I started this little message trend with him, and wound up, just laid out this like whole story that was made up. And then I was like, just joking, but we did. So the end of the story was that I didn't sell it, and we decided to have co-ownership. And so part of this whole legend was if the Pixel Pet sun and moon ever were to have a home in the same wallet, there would be a birth of this Pixel Pet god. And so
cool.
like and I think I need to still update this gallery with a few things. But so we're like sharing ownership, and I've got to send some over to him to take care of them and feed them and stuff for a while. But so then it launched into this new thing, and like the lore is so amazing. We each wound up getting the little Pixel Pet gods too.
No way.
Yeah, it's just it's so amazing, and they have such character, and they're so cool.
Yeah.
That I just really really love them. And
Pixel Pet, it's so unique because the colors seem simple, but with everything being so 3D and the shadows and the highlights and just like the aesthetic of it all, like it's really beautifully done. It's really beautiful.
And also basically started off on Scent.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I first found them, and then was like, dude, you got to make like Cryptovoxel's pets. And, that came to pass, and just like, it's been really fun. I got to help with a little bit of the lore too on some of the Pixel Pet stuff. So it's been like super, super amazing to get to be like a little involved in projects that I just absolutely love.
That's so epic. And Pixel Pet has done some really cool stuff in Cryptovoxels too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've got dope ass music NFTs.
Love that.
And then I'll show. There's one other where I think it's Pixel Chain. There's a couple pieces maybe in here that I made. So I made this one that was, what is it? A last siesta. So it's just sort of like a desert scene with someone taking a little nap. There's a little UFO up there, which probably abducted them, and that's why it's the last siesta. And well, the first one I ever made was, what was it? It was like First Sunset or something like that. And Rizzle actually bought the first one I made it like over hours, because it was the first time I'd ever done anything pixel art. And so I'd finished at like 1 a.m, was like super stoked. Okay, minted it, went to bed, woke up with a message already from Riz saying, dude, I saw your like pixel thing, I'd really like to get it. And I was like, hell yeah. So it went to a great person. And
Cool.
then I have this little guy I made as well, which is the man in the reflection. Yeah, man in the reflection. So you've got the moon there above, and then in the ocean, you can see he's like smiling in the
Yeah,
reflection.
that's
And
really cool.
I got this one off Dragonate, which I really loved. It's a super dope dragon. And then this little zombie Mario. I forget who I got
Who's
that
that
from, but
one
it's
by? Oh,
I
okay.
I wish it would tell us that here. I can
Maybe if you
hit this
inspect
and see.
or the market, maybe.
Yeah, if I go to market, it
Oh,
should
it's by
take me to
Lander.
OpenSea. Oh yeah, that was Landers. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Your fix a
I've
pet brother.
Exactly. I've honestly, I did like, I just finished an event before this with Meme Force, and then we
Oh,
had a big
nice.
event the night before and the whip. So I'm a little frazzed,
Oh, you're fine.
just in case if I totally brain fart on like names and stuff.
Lander will give you shit for it later, I'm sure.
He's more than welcome to. So that is Collector's Hub Gallerist. So you take your inventory, you drop it into cool galleries. You can tweet out a link to your gallery, and everybody can see what you got. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
And it's run by pretty awesome people. So that's
absolutely,
definitely
yeah.
a reason to check it out. I met Renee in New York in February 2019, and he was just so awesome. We immediately like clicked. Marguerite introduced us, a coin artist, and then we immediately clicked and like became friends after that. And he's just such an awesome dude. So
He
it's
is
cool to see you guys
amazing.
working together on this.
He's amazing, and he's super talented. Like him and his crew really have busted out like
Oh
super
yeah.
fast this amazing stuff. This is just epic art, and I've got a good collection from a handful of people. There's one of yours in there, Claude's and Skinny and Connie.
That
Just
is awesome.
and I've got much more art that I actually need to.
Who's the bottom center? That the colorful with the four screens. Who's that?
Let's check and see. I think that was a gift, maybe. Um, does it? Oh yeah, it's a Moxora. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I really like that piece.
Yeah, it really caught my attention. Maybe I did buy that one. It's hard to
That's a
keep
really
track
cool
because
piece.
often I'll like check in on my activity and somebody has sent me like some cool piece of art. It's so amazing. Like people are just
Yeah.
so generous and cool.
I
Um,
didn't know I should be checking in on that, and then I don't know if you guys saw my tweet, but Modrats had sent me a joy piece, and I was like, "What? No freaking way!" It's like 2 months ago, and I had no idea. So
that's amazing.
I had to thank him for that because that was sick.
I have
Um,
people that I need to thank like many months late too.
yeah.
And then we added the contract for POAPs. And so if you've been to a bunch of like Decentraland events and
Oh,
stuff, then you
cool.
can make a gallery to show off all your POAPs. So I'm like, yeah, I've got some dope
That
POAPs.
is really cool. Wait, what does POEP stand for?
Proof of attendance. Oh, what is it? Proof of activity, or I don't remember the full.
Pretty
I thought it
close.
was, yeah,
Something like that.
it's basically a proving that you were active or attended an event.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
yeah,
I like that.
art,
My piece
got
is right there on
your
the
piece
left.
right there. I think a couple have maybe some of your work in them,
These are
but yeah,
really cool. I like that.
yeah,
Collector's Hub is sweet. I
it's
already have one, but I'm gonna get more into it and start organizing my stuff a little bit better because it is nice that you can just save this link on your phone or wherever and like bring up all your art without having to, I've actually when I try to show people stuff, I'll like go to OpenSea, then I have to search the specific thing, my wallet, and then go to my wallet and go to the side and click on whatever it is. So it
yeah.
is nice to have.
Yeah,
Um,
once you've kind of like organized your stuff a little, you're just basically set. And you can always tweak things and you can rearrange the order and, name your stuff how you want. But it's pretty awesome. Um, it's an awesome service. And it's free. You don't have to pay anything. There's no gas involved. You just go and arrange all your art how you like to see it. And then you can also just like airdrop to like a smart TV or a tablet or anything,
yep.
and it'll be like a really nice way to be able to have different kind of themed collections for what your mood you're in, and just boom, throw up a little slideshow that repeats on a TV or a screen wherever you want in your house. So yeah, that is Gallerist on Collectors Hub.
Very cool. Very cool. That I will definitely. I need to check that out more than I already have. I'd love to talk about also you and your photography, if you want to talk a little bit about that, because you've been doing it for quite a long time, and you're incorporating that into so many different things, into actually tokenizing for photography, but also like making like 3D aspects that are sort of related and all these different things. So I'd love to just hear a little bit about that and your journey and when you started that.
Yeah, I started photography when I was 9 years old. I got a
Wow.
little cheap 35 millimeter camera. My dad was into photography. He had like even would set up like a dark room in the bathroom tub when the kids were asleep, like way back in the day.
No way.
And my mom was into photography, my grandfather. So I started at like 9 and I just fell in love with it. And then probably when I was like 13, I inherited my grandpa's like nicer Spotmatic Pentax 35 millimeter classic camera with a handful of lenses that were his. So these are like, some of them are like pre-war glass, so really old
Wow.
lenses that have this softening effect when you put them on a digital back. So now that it's so hard and would be so expensive to shoot 35 and get it developed and stuff, that I use these really nice old lenses on a digital back, and that's where the majority of the photography that I actually turn into like NFT works comes from. But yeah, it sort of softens the hard edges of the digital feel somewhat. And what I'll do is I will share a screen here again. Just give me one sec. And
It's so cool that you know so much about all of these cameras because I don't know anything, but I remember Giselle when she was on telling me a bit about the camera she uses, and I find it so interesting. It's
she's
really
got
cool.
badass gear for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Like medium format is amazing because you get so much detail. Um, so I think these are some photos that I didn't actually, that aren't minted. And maybe I'll just maybe I'll
Oh, I
pop
like
over and
that.
pull up the crypto voxels. So because I have some of them up in there. Let me see. I'm gonna do a quick stop on this, and I'm gonna share another screen because I can do just like a quick little walkthrough, and then it might be easier.
Sweet. Nice. You already had it loaded up.
Let's see if that pulls up here. There it is. It's in the back. So this is my little gallery, and thanks to Whale Shark, he let me use this piece. He had a program that was started on Cent, where if you were, a poor struggling artist that couldn't afford a plot in crypto voxels, he would start out with a 1-year lease, and the only obligation was to build something on it and do something with it. So I reached out and said I would love to have that opportunity. He gave me the use of this spot, and let me go into first person here. It's easier. Okay, so photography. So here's some photos. So I had minted those not for sale just so that I could put them up in here, thinking I would have the cool silver frames, but I forgot that I don't own those. Anyways, here's one of my favorites from back when I was living in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And that's a long exposure at nighttime. So, and actually handheld, which is a little tricky for long exposures, but with a fisheye lens, you can pull it off. So it's a fisheye lens and a long exposure, probably like 20, 30 seconds, and probably like 15, 20 seconds. And so then you see the lights that are streaking by there that was probably a bus because it's pretty
Mm.
tall. And then, you get this really cool movement. Here's one that was, I used to work in film, so I would bring my camera, and after we'd wrap, I'd walk around whatever weird neighborhoods we were at, like 4 or 5 in the morning taking photos. And so
That's
this
a
was
really
just one
cool
of those
photo.
mornings. Thanks. Yeah, the lighting on the bridge, and I think the lighting on that brick building was actually spillover from our shoot. So it was
Oh.
like, ooh, snag this while that old brick was
Yeah.
lit up too.
That's beautiful.
and just a old man walking down the street on a snowy day in New York. You know, back then, this was like 2000, early 2000s. People, like, it's very different taking photographs of people these days. Back
Mm-hmm.
then, there wasn't a lot of people kind of doing that. So if you had a camera on and you're like taking pictures, and maybe you ask someone, "Oh, can I snap a picture of you?" It would be like, "Yeah, sure, no problem," you know. So
Yeah.
which was really cool. And yeah, those are just a few examples of some photography
Those are
that
really cool.
I
I
I
also I like how they all you have obviously a story for each of them, and they all have a different look and feel to them, and it sort of takes you to sort of standing next to you while we're both viewing this in the moment. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, this was one too that so I plan on actually removing all the other art pieces from the gallery and putting all just photographs up to do a photographic exhibit. And then when I'm kind of waiting till I can get like a really good scanner, and
Hmm.
then I will actually mint some of these of my photography for sale, and they'll just all be one of one. So it'll be a one of
Nice.
one of a photograph, and I will do some like series. So this bike one comes from a series that I kind of have in mind, that is a summer NYC, and there's some of like clotheslines on rooftops and just like guys making the ices and, you know, different parts of
Yeah.
towns and all the kids around and the colorful umbrellas they have and all the syrups and stuff. So that hopefully, you know, I'm doing so much stuff that like little things like this that are just my own hobby stuff kind of gets pushed to the back burner sometimes. But yeah, here's a couple pieces. So this came from a photograph, and
That's
then
beautiful.
I just play with it with lots of different effects. And I mean, I'll take 100 photos to get the one that I like,
Right.
and then play with different, just, you know, general contrast and exposure and brightness and color and hue and all those things. And then I'll find some cool programs that can add more effects. So I'll just play with it a lot until I find one I like, and I'll do multiple versions. And then, so that was Mother, and this is Daughter, which is just a close-up shot of some of the flowers that were on that tree.
Has Mother already, have you tokenized that, or is that not
Yeah,
tokenized?
these are all tokenized. I think Mother and Daughter were either, I think I made 3 editions of those,
Are they all
and
sold?
no, I think I don't think either of those sold out. I think one Mother had sold, and there's still
I
at least
definitely
an
want a
edition or
Mother.
two of
Will
each.
you send me the link to that one later?
Totally.
I definitely want one of those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, so these here, these 3 irises, are actually irises that my mom planted like 50 years ago or some 40 something years ago in the garden. And she passed like a decade ago,
Mm.
but her flowers still bloom here.
Oh.
So these were from not this last spring, but the spring before.